Purusha, which means the same as Purusha or the person, but a little bit elongated. Here, previously we have seen no elongation. It was Purusha. Now here, it has become Purusha, elongated. That means the same fellow came as projection. From Purusha, the egg is born. Attaining the egg stage, or taking the egg as its subsistence, once again the Purusha is born as the second generation. A second time he is born as son. So he was like the father. From the father the egg came, and from the egg the son came. The same fellow came as the son. Third line. When split up, this becomes he. Jato becomes, this word Jato becomes, this word means the one who is born. That's the meaning. Jataha means the one who is born. The one who is born. That's the meaning of this. Jataha. And we have the last word, the most difficult, Atya Richyata. Surpass, occupied. Third line means having born this little fellow, the new Purusha, or Purusha, elongated, surpassed the egg state and once again occupied the whole universe. So he replaced the father. And finally, Paschat. The word Paschat means to the west. So first he traveled to the western countries. So he went to the west. Then Bhumim, the earth. You have seen it in the second mantra, Bhumi, the earth. First he went to the west and then he went into the earth. That means the next word, when split up, it becomes Athaha. In grammar it becomes Atho, but when split up it becomes Athaha. Athaha means downward and also to the bottom or abyss. Bottom means abyss. So first he went to the west and then he went into the earth, down to the bottom, and finally you find Puraha. The word Puraha means to the front and also to the east. So first he traveled to the west, then into the earth, to the bottom, then to the east. This is the word meaning. We will take down the general translation. From the pervasion of the Purusha came out the brilliant egg. From the egg, once again, the Purusha is born as projection. Having been born, he has expanded first towards the west, then to the bottom into the earth, and then to the front, and then to the front into the east. This is the translation. We will see in which direction the fellow expanded, because there was neither east nor west. Unless there is the sun and the earth and a living being on this earth, you can't have east or west. Unbound wanted to come down. So it took the shape of one egg. That is one globe separated from the rest of the space unbound. This is what we were speaking yesterday about space awakening. So one unit space came out as the brilliant egg of the background space. Again, in the egg, we find the same fellow developing a child space from the parent space. Just as we have same blackboard in the circle. When we describe a circle, they both out of the circle and within the circle. Similarly, he made an egg of himself, out of himself. And here the content is how he is found. Now his purpose is to become once again the space unbound, or realize himself as the consciousness unbound. So, in the egg, he is being hatched as the chicken. Now, towards the end, when it is perfect, the chick comes out exactly as the parent in its replica. The difference is nothing but the relationship between the parent and the child. So, we as living beings on this earth, we are in no way different from the one who is our background, because he is there in us also, filled, just as the egg is filled by the same fellow. We are almost like his eggs laid. He contains us, we contain him. See, and now we are in a process of becoming himself. That is what is called the creation in its course of evolution. That's the whole story. That is what he says. The whole story is the story of a bird giving birth to, laying an egg, and from the egg, the chick coming out and becoming a full-fledged bird. This is a concept which is given to us to understand the origin of the creation, the development of the creation, and the goal of the development of the creation, and the purpose of the creation. The whole thing put together in a little simile or symbol of one incident, that is the big bird giving birth to an egg, the egg giving birth to a small bird, the small bird becoming once again the big bird. So, a bird is nothing but the creation of the bird. That is one aspect. Then, to the west means first the place where the sun sets. That means, according to the symbolism of all scriptures, the sun indicates the full-fledged I am, or the consciousness of the space and God. From that point, he attains a stage where the sun sets. That is the degree of the illumination of self-awareness what we call the light of the spirit gets diminished more and more until it goes into the layers surrounding itself. That is, it falls into the various stages of the becoming of the creation. So it is no more itself, but it is covered by its own layers, just as we are covered by our own layers of skin, etc., bones, flesh. We are concealed. So, the spirit first descends into the layers of becoming of the non-spirit, what we call the second to itself or objectivity. For example, when we light a match, we find fire at the end of the match. But what happened is, fire was previously in its original form, which we call the content of space. Now it has descended to the stick, and we call it flame, or the fire that consumes. It's not the original fire, but it is called a tongue of fire. What we call the visible fire or flame is one of the 7 tongues of fire. That is what these scriptures say. It is described that the fire has 7 tongues. The original fire being what we call the content of the space. Space is a solid of the original fire, and when it is brought down to a lesser and lesser intensity of its degree of illumination, then we see the fire of fuel. It is the fire that can exist only on the subsistence of matter. So it is the lowest form of the manifestations of fire. Similarly, the omnipresence of the space unbound comes down into the layers of generation or making of the universe, which are denser and denser gradually. He is the subtlest principle in his original form, but he begins to become grosser and grosser into his own layers, which are not himself. Just as every day we become denser and denser into our tissues, and just as daily we grow our hair and bark from out of ourselves, and it is not ourselves. Similarly, he began to grow his layers. So he came to the rest or the setting of his own glory into his own becoming. So first he went to the west to set. So he had his sunset, or the temporary loss of illumination into mind and matter. Am I clear? It is subtle. By that time, he had prepared layers around himself. That is the first thing he did. As the content of the egg, first he made it like that. And then he traveled into the densest layers of the earth or matter. That means in the next stage, he began to create layers of matter or material existence, which permit no degree of his illumination out. in the language of some other symbolism, we can say he is entombed in matter. He is entombed. That means he made matter out of himself. First of all, he made the layers that are grosser than himself and subtler than matter. That is one stage. Then in the next stage, he made way into the earth and plunged himself into the depths of the earth or matter. That means he created matter around himself as the densest of the layers. So he went to the bottom of the earth, or he began to exist as the indweller of the atoms of the physical plane existence, which we call the mineral kingdom, and even lower there are some kingdoms. If you take some sand, you find the atoms of the mineral kingdom. Each atom has its own nucleus, which is the central ion, the same fellow existing but a little bit drowsy and dormant. So God sleeps in minerals, dreams in plants, wakes up in animals, and knows himself in the human beings. That is one of the commentaries of the scriptures. Yes. Yes. God sleeps in minerals, dreams in plants, wakes up in animals, knows himself in the human being. These are sentences from a commentary to one of the scriptures. That means these four stages of consciousness in the awakening. Now he has descended in the reverse direction into the four stages of consciousness in the decreasing order, diminishing order of his luminosity. So now the fellow sleeps in the bottom of the earth, downward, and then he comes to the front once again the next morning. Front means east. That means this 1/4 sector of creation permits the fellow to make his awakenings of the mineral, plant, animal kingdoms until he dawns himself again as the soul of the individual. There is the dawn of the soul again. So this change takes place to 1/4. See, as a symbol of this, you have the noon sun, who represents the full-fledged human consciousness of knowing himself, gradually setting, rest, and then midnight he is at our bottom, under our feet, when our consciousness is in sleep. So living beings sleep when it is night. And then towards the morning they awaken into him. That's why the whole activity of the 24 hours is a symbol of his total activity through eons and millions of years of this creative activity. See, every day we have an emblem or an epitome of the whole activity. If you observe the activity of the day of 24 hours from noon again to noon, you will understand how the whole creation goes in a cyclic order, and you can understand how, in what succession the changes from spirit to matter through mind take place, and how from matter to spirit the awakening takes place through mind. So, take the day with its 4 quadrants of 6 hours each as the emblem or the symbol of the activity of whole creation. So, in this creation, every part expresses the activity of the whole. Every part of the creation expresses, it serves as the symbol of the activity of the whole creation. If you take an atom and begin to study its story, this story gives you the story of the whole creation. If you study precisely the activity that is going on during the moments of fertilization, what happens? The same thing happens in a large scale in the beginning of one creation. See? And if you study the development of the fetus from the time of fertilization to the time of birth, you will be able to understand the changes of the physical frames of beings on this earth. That is, the minerals, plants and animals, and the cycles of evolution, the ladders of evolution, up to the present human stage. From the stage of the unicellular organisms to the stage of the human beings on this earth, the whole history can be witnessed as the story in a drama if you examine the developments of the fetus from the time of fertilization to the time of birth. So, protogeny proves phylogeny. That is what the biological science says. So, this is the one truth of the ancients accepted by the modern scientists.
Repeat it, please. No, once more.
Protogeny proves phylogeny. That is, the generation of the individual in its development. It proves the stages of the generation of the universe. Till now, this is the only proposition of the ancient wisdom accepted by the modern scientists. If you ask the botany professor or the zoology professor to explain, he will better explain this. How the embryo of the human being in all its developments proves the various stages of the animals, the vertebrata, invertebrata, amphibians, etc., up to the stage of the evolution of the human being. See? So, you go to a cinema or a drama and you will understand, enjoy the story of 7 years or 10 years or 15 years, but the duration of the cinema or drama is only 2 hours or 1 hour. So within a duration of 1 year, you are able to enjoy and experience a story of 10 years. Similarly, within a period of 9 months, the whole story of thousands and thousands of years is being enacted. Now, this is the one sector which gives us the evolution of the atoms ascending once again into the I am consciousness, where it is done. The sunrise is symbolic of the beginning of the animal kingdom, because the awakening is made first. In the plant kingdom, there is no awakening, there is only a dreaming state of the I am. Because there are only sensations in the form of feelings in plants. Plant has pain only as feeling but not as sensation. That is how this group is described. If you hurt a plant, it has pain, but it is not so definite and exact and indicating as that of an animal or a human being. If you pinch a human being, the pain is translated into definite terms of feeling, sensation, idea, thought, and intellect. So the human impression includes all these things. In the animal, it cannot be translated into the level of intellect. In the plant, it cannot be translated into a thought or even a sensation. It has a feeling of pain. So, if you pinch a plant somewhere, the plant has pain, but there is no location for the pain in the plant. The whole plant feels the pain. That is how it is described. Because the mechanism to transmit sensations is not differentiated in the plants. That is the nervous system and the brain. No brain cells are separated, no nerves are separated in plants. But the functions of the brain are there, and the functions of the nerves are there, dissolved in the etheric body of the plant. That's why the plant has a pain. It has a shock when you cause a pain. For example, the ancient Indian science of plants describes how some plants, when taken out of the soil and transplanted somewhere, they die due to the shock. But when an anesthesia is administered to the plant, if you take it out and plant, the plant doesn't die, because you have saved it from the shock. Now here, what he calls yeast is once again the stage of the differentiation of the nervous system and the brain to serve as the seat of mind and transmission of thought. Of course, the other details are worked out in the other lessons of the Vedic text, the hymns of the Vedic text. For example, we have the sooktas for Vishwe Devas. There are 33 suktas about Vishwe Devas in the Rig Veda. Vishwe Devas means Devas working in units of bodies. And the other Devas they are working in the universe. Those who are working in the open universe are different from those working in the offices which we call the bodies of the plants and the minerals, the animals and the human beings. So the same Deva of air is working outside in space. The same Deva of air is working inside. When he is working inside, he is called Vishwadeva. When he is working outside, he is called simply a Deva. The Deva of water, when he is in the lake of Geneva, he is simply a Deva. When he enters into the body of a living being, and when he is doing his work in a body, he is called a Vishwadeva. So, these hymns give us the other details, and we will go into it. But for the present, it is enough to remember that East is the symbol of the dawn of the animal consciousness, and the Noon is the symbol of the dawn of the human consciousness, which represents know thyself, knowing yourself, that is, knowing your own existence. Strangely, it is said that the animals know everything around themselves, including their master. A dog knows its master, its environment. It can return to the master's house. Everything. It knows its food, the pain. It knows what is light and what is darkness, what is sound, etc. Only one thing the animal cannot know, that is its own existence, and that the human being knows. So that is the awakening expected of the human body. Anything except itself, the animal knows. It knows its pain also, but not itself. Even while paining, it cannot realize that it is existing, but it suffers from the pain. That is one of the wonderful things. Here, the midday sun is a symbol of the human consciousness, or the highest illumination of consciousness. Noon. So in the symbolism of Freemasonry, it is described as the South. It is called the time when we are allowed to go to refreshment from work and to work from refreshment. We have profound sentences and passages which we repeat daily in the Freemasonic halls, but often many of us are drunk deep in the halls. We treat it as merely a club, something nonsensical, so we get drunk deep to the glory of the architecture universe, our God. So we pollute even the most sacred halls of learning. And the result is, many of the Freemasonry halls today are nothing but houses where people drink, dance, and prattle. But once they were started as schools of wisdom. Now, it is enough. Yes, from labor to refreshment. So, the noon is called the south, or the highest point of illumination, where we cross the line in our evolution from labor to refreshment, and again from refreshment to labor afterwards in the night, midnight. And the evolution of the animal consciousness to the human consciousness is symbolized by the 90 degrees, the quadrant of the 90 degrees between sunrise and noon. And in the mystic language, Pythagoras says, it takes 6 hours for the animal to become man. In one of his initiations, Pythagoras says, it takes 6 hours for the animal to become man. That means the sunrise indicates the animal consciousness and the noon indicates the human consciousness, and the difference between the two is, in our day, it is 6 hours. But in the day of evolution, it may be 60,000 years. And also there is another symbolism, significance in the sentence of Pythagoras. In the animal kingdom, you find the vertebral column horizontal. In the human kingdom, you find the vertebral column vertical. So he says, from the horizontal stage of our vertebral column to the vertical stage of our vertebral column, it is 90 degrees, which takes 6 hours in the measure of our day. This is called the fourth book of Pythagorean initiations. Among the 33 volumes, this is given in the fourth volume. So here in this scripture it is said, first he goes to the west. That is, as his own awareness and full-fledged consciousness, he sets into the symbolic sunset. That is, non-himself are the layers of objective consciousness. Then he sets into matter. That is, he goes into the earth, the bottom of the earth. Then again to the east. So, you can understand that the evolution cycle of the individual starts somewhere there in a stage of midnight to the consciousness and gradually awakens through mineral, plant and animal kingdoms, and then gets its highest illumination in the human kingdom, and then begins to sacrifice itself, thus completing one cycle. Whenever it touches the highest point, that is the highest realization of the spirit by man, then it is the original illumination of the awareness of I am. Gradually it descends into darkness, and Madame Blavatsky mystically